Welcome to Business Talk, the online talk series where we delve into the world of business investments and economic growth. I'm your host, Michael Avery, and today we've got a very special guest joining us all the way from Saint Lucia, the Honourable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, who is Saint Lucia's Minister for Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information. That's quite a big portfolio, that, Dr. Hilaire. Your portfolio obviously encompasses a wide range of sectors, welcome, that are crucial to St. Lucia's growth. Could you tell us a little bit more about your ministerial portfolio and its impact on the economy in St. Lucia?
Well, thank you very much, Michael, for your introduction. You are right. I have the most exciting ministries in St. Lucia. If you just listen to what it entails, I mean, the Minister of Tourism, Culture, Creative Industries, Investment, and Information. But I mean, it is really a very exciting assemblage of responsibilities, and also the economic driver for St. Lucia. We are a tourism-driven economy. Almost 40%, of our GDP is derived from the tourism industry. So it is quite significant for us. And of course, I'm sure we'll get a chance to speak about what we offer as a tourism destination. So tourism is what really drives us, and that falls under myself. Of course, investment is quite significant. We attract significant amounts of foreign direct investment, especially in the real estate and hospitality sector. As part of investment, I also have responsibility for the Citizenship and Investment Program, and that itself is significant for us and increasingly significant. And culture and creative industries, who wouldn't want to be such a minister in the Caribbean? You're responsible for Carnival.
And I mean, I've grown to love the West Indies archipelago over time as a big cricket fan, and always follow the Proteas when they're touring over there, and just know that it's one of those destinations that's renowned worldwide for tourism, and known as well as the honeymoon destination, I believe, St. Lucia. Obviously, with tourism being such an important industry for St. Lucia, how did you manage during the pandemic, and how have you emerged from the pandemic? Have you seen a rebound since the world reopened after COVID?
No, I think, and you've hit on two of the highlights of what St. Lucia offers as a tourism destination. St. Lucia is an island of spectacular physical beauty. I mean, we're certainly not as large as some of the tourism destinations in the world, but we are very spectacular in what we offer. We're the only sovereign state in the world to be named after a woman, St. Lucia. You can't find any other example of this. We call the Helen of the West, named after the famous Helen of Troy. When the early settlers came over and they saw the beauty of St. Lucia, they akin it to the Helen of the West, which at that time was the most beautiful creature on earth. So it tells you already about St. Lucia. And then you add to it the honeymoon destination. For a number of years, we've been the world's leading destination for honeymoons, and one of the leading destinations in the world for weddings. So we're very proud of what we offer as a destination. But even beyond that, the strongest, element of our product is our people. The warmth, the hospitality, the personality of our people. We don't teach our people how to smile. We don't teach them how to be nice. We don't teach them how to be gracious. It is who we are. And like you said, the archipelago of the West Indies is well known for cricket, our fun-loving nature, and how we approach life. Life is for living. We certainly live life. You ask about the pandemic. The pandemic was devastating on us, and it taught us lessons too on how to be more resilient as a country. Because if you depend too much on any sector, whether it's manufacturing, tourism, agriculture, if there is any incident that can affect that sector, it can really hurt your economy. And certainly in the case of St. Lucia, it was devastating for us. The suddenness of COVID and the impact that it had. But we were very determined to be able to move forward, and we were clear in our minds how resilient we were, that our people were ready, our physical beauty was intact, the infrastructure for tourism was intact, and we needed to get the right protocols, the balance between lives, livelihoods, and for us to be able to rebound. And we were very proactive, very aggressive, and we certainly was able to go out into the international community very early to assure people we had the right protocols in place, we had the right capacity to manage those protocols, and that Saint Lucia was a place to visit. So we were one of the fastest growing tourism destinations right after COVID. Because we were able to go out there and to convince, the traveling public that it was safe to travel, and certainly safe to travel to St. Lucia. And like I said, we had in place all the elements, the protocols, the arrangements in place where we could safely welcome individuals to St. Lucia. So yes, it was devastating, but also too, we believe we're very resilient. We believe we had a clear understanding of how to move forward, and we were able to do so. The rebound has been tremendous. Certainly in the Eastern Caribbean, with the fastest growing economy, with the second fastest growing economy in the entire Caribbean after Guyana. And in terms of tourism rebound, we led the way in tourism rebound in the Eastern Caribbean, and we continue to have strong showing in 2023.
And you get that feeling that after the pandemic, people want to put their priorities back into what matters, and that is being able to travel again and experiences. And it looks like St. Lucia is really set to capitalize on that. But as one of the fastest growing economies in the Caribbean region, besides tourism, what are St. Lucia's key industries on the island? Because I think most people, when they think of St. Lucia, they think of Carnival, they think of tourism. But what are the other industries that offer opportunities for investors?
Well, agriculture has rebounded quite well as well. Historically, we have been very dependent on the banana industry, the export of bananas to the United Kingdom. What we have been able to do in the last couple of years is to reorient the trade, where we supply a lot of the regional destinations, the other islands, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Antigua. So our trade now is more inter-regional rather than, international. And that has helped the banana industry to rebound quite well. There is, especially after COVID, there's a strong focus on food security. And you find a lot more of the regional destinations, and even locally, people are looking to more local products. So, rather than having that huge dependence that we had during COVID on the international, people are looking a little more inward. And again, it's because during COVID, the supply chain issues that were provided, you were forced to look inward, and that has continued. And we need to cement it and entrench it. So, we can continue to say to our people, for the sake of food security, for the sake of, the whole stability of our agricultural sector, you need to look more inwards, and that has helped us quite well. Manufacturing has also rebounded very well. Again, part of it is in response to the supply chain issues, and of course, regional demand for goods and products. Our emphasis is on a lot of agro-processing, so making chocolates, making jams, pepper, hot sauce, a lot of those kinds of small scale. We're not a large-scale industrial manufacturing, sector. We don't have that. So it's not about making vehicles and appliances, whatnot. It is very focused on, the small-scale agro-processing and that kind of stuff. So we've seen manufacturing also improve, significantly.
But very much playing to your strengths, and I think also from a sustainability perspective, shortening those distribution links in the supply chain when it comes to agricultural produce is really where the world should be heading as well. So very interesting to hear that that's the opportunity that opened up through the crisis of COVID. Now, you mentioned it earlier that St. Lucia is one of the few countries that offers a citizenship by investment program. And I believe you played a key role in helping craft and develop the initial program. Can you just speak to how citizenship by investment is really an effective tool to drive FDI into a country?
Well, I mean, it is from a simple perspective. You want to attract investors into your country, and it offers an incentive for investors to come. When we introduced the program first in 2016, and like you said, I was the chairman of the board then that really set up the program, we were noticing a decline in investment in the country, well, not just in St. Lucia, but throughout the region. A lot of the changes that have taken place in the financial services sector, for example, has really affected us. And that's a story by itself, how the international community and its rules are so debilitating on us. It affected our banana industry. It affected, financial services. And now, it is threatening us in the Citizenship and Investment Program. Because of some of those rules, investors started to get a little uncertain about the region, saying the cost of investing is becoming too onerous, not necessarily in lending rates and loans and those things, but the hassle, the ease of doing business. It is so difficult it is becoming so difficult to set up bank accounts, to move money, all those restrictions that we face from the OECD, whatnot. So we beginning to realize there was starting to be a decline in foreign direct investment. We studied what other countries had done in relation to the Citizenship and Investment Program, and we thought we could introduce a program that would help us attract the investors that we needed to ensure the continued growth of the country. And we did so because we believe if you have the right systems in place, the proper vetting, the proper verification, the proper due diligence, and you are attracting the right people, then you are able to say to developers, come to the country, invest in your projects, build the infrastructure, and use the avenue of the Citizenship and Investment Program to get investors into those projects. And in exchange, we will offer them citizenship. So that basically was the thinking then. And the project, the whole program has evolved over the years. The whole industry has changed over the years. But the point is, it still remains a very valuable tool for the country, both in terms of driving investment, but also too in terms of bringing in resources to the state to deal with other issues and other demands that the state have to meet. So it is very valuable for us. It is becoming more significant in Saint Lucia, and we expect it to grow even more.
Yeah, and I think globally that governments are grappling with all kinds of investment and demographic issues, and increasingly we're seeing this very innovative approach being taken to make a country attractive to invest in, but also to bring in skills permanently, knowledge, know-how, and have that knowledge transfer internally. Now, you promote this idea of vibe, as it's called. That sounds like a very kind of West Indian Saint Lucia concept. What does that entail, and what does it mean to an investor looking to Saint Lucia as an investment destination or a second home or a business hub?
But I think you kind of hit on it on the earlier part of what you said. The whole notion of vibe is to say, look, come, St. Lucia as a destination, it is more than a transaction for citizenship. It's not about you just coming and putting in the money and getting the citizenship. There's a lot more vibe behind that. It is not transaction, it's interactional. So come, be part of our landscape, be part of our personality, be part of who we are. Come enjoy St. Lucia as your home, and be proud as a citizen. If your primary interest is just to get a passport and as called second citizenship and to pay us the money, okay, fine. But we don't want it to be that. We want it to be more meaningful than that. So let's create a vibe about this. Let's create a feeling about this. And that's the whole notion of vibe. When you speak of having a vibe, it means speaking about having a feeling, a connection. When you walk into a room and there's a vibe in the room, you just feel that you're in place. You just feel that it belongs to you and that, you could just fit in. So when you speak of vibe, that's what it is all about. So St. Lucia is really about a vibe. When you become a citizen of St. Lucia, there is so much to enjoy. Yes, there is this second travel document that you may need. Yes, there are issues of, economic security. There are issues of your investment. But there's also a vibe. You come to the country, the jazz festival, carnival, a wedding, a honeymoon, adventure, maybe just chilling out on the beach, sipping your rum punch and watching the sunset. There's a vibe. So let's look beyond the passport. Let's look at the kind of emotional connection that you can get with a second home. So yes, you have your original citizenship where you were born, where you were raised, but hey, we welcome you like you belong to us and feel connected with us. So if you really want to have a citizenship that is not, like I said, transactional, but more interactional, and it is more connected, come to St. Lucia.
Well,
We have a brand. And our brand is the vibe that we create with you when you become a new citizen.
I think it really resonates with us here in South Africa because like, culturally we share so much around loving the outdoors, loving our beaches as well, and loving our cricket, and I can go on and on. But it really sounds as if this investing via the Citizenship by Investment program, it's a stepping stone. It's something bigger in terms of accessing the benefits of that vibrant St. Lucian market. Just tell us more about the options that are available under this program, the Citizenship by Investment program, and which route would you recommend for my audience watching this if they want to have that vibe, if they want to come and participate in what Saint Lucia has to offer?
Yeah, well, I think there are four options now. When we launch a program, you had the bond option where you can purchase government bonds, which are used for the national budget development process. And of course, after a number of years, 5 years, it is repaid to you at 0% interest. Now, it helps us because rather than going on the financial markets and, issuing bonds at 5%, 6%, 7%, it helps us. We pay 0%. We had the donation mode, which is probably the most popular mode around the world, where you actually make a donation to the country directly for the development process. We had the real estate, where you actually buy an interest in a development in the country, and that too is very popular. And originally, we had another one called the enterprise, which is basically if you come to invest in selected sectors, you build a new restaurant, you build your different, you invest in a school, in a health facility, you can get citizenship once it's above a certain threshold. We've actually reviewed since we came into office in July 2021, and we're going to make some changes. The bond option is going to continue. The donation is going to continue. The real estate, we have reduced the investment level from 300,000 to 200,000 to make it more, equitable with what is offered around the region. And we are rethinking the enterprise option. We are thinking that it's not really giving us the kind of returns that we thought it would. And we've reflected on what we need as a country and for us to come up with a new option. And very soon an announcement will be made internationally on that new option. But I can tell you, for us, a primary issue is our infrastructural development and how we use, and we've been thinking of how we use the Citizenship by Investment program to deal with those infrastructural issues, the housing, roads, and that for us is a critical component right now. You asked me which one would I offer or recommend. I think it really depends on you, the person, and what your own disposition is. Some people rather just make a donation and that's it. Some people want the bonds. It's a lot higher, but they know they're going to get back, after a number of years, their original investment. There are people that want the real estate because they know they have an investment in a development. They might be able to go and spend 2 weeks there in a year if they want as a part owner of it. So it really depends on you and your own particular circumstances. Once you sit with your wealth manager, they can probably guide you as to what's the best route to take. And I cannot tell you this one is better than the other. It really depends on you as an applicant to decide what is best suited to your circumstances.
But it does sound like, specifically around the bond program, that you're going out and rather than, tapping the normal capital markets is a great way to raise funding at a very low cost of capital. What are the funds used for? Is it primarily infrastructure? So I know at least that I'm investing in something that's going to really uplift the people of St. Lucia, because infrastructure, be it roads or power or hospitals or clinics, really is at the heart of impact when it comes to impact investing.
Well, again, and it's a very good question you asked. So let me explain to you how the different sources of revenue through the program is used. The donation goes towards a national economic fund. And that national economic fund is used to finance in a broad way, the economic development of St. Lucia. But it is used, give me an example. An investor locally might want some monies for a particular project they're working on. They can apply to the National Economic fund for a loan. Let me give you another example. A Castries corporation in Saint Lucia needs some resources, short-term financing. You need to buy, some pipes for a water project. They can apply to the National Economic Fund for a grant. Our marketing board needs some money to help them with a certain project. They can apply to the National Economic Fund for it. And those monies from the donation are placed in that fund and used for that purpose. So it's a kind of fund where the money is revolving and used to finance specific developmental projects of economic nature, of a business nature. The bonds would go straight to the Ministry of Finance. And one of the good things about the bonds, and you highlighted it, is a way of us using those monies to refinance our debts. We have significant debt on our books. These are debts at 5%, at 6%. We can pay off those debts with bonds at 0%. So we're using some of those monies to refinance and restructure our debt portfolio. And like I said, we're going to, the only challenge we have now is a 5-year maturity, and we need longer term maturities. The more you can spread your debt over a longer period. But it is significant to us because rather, like I said, than paying a bond issue, which is 1 year, 2 years, whatever, you can get 5 years at 0%. So that's where those monies from the bonds would go. And the real estate, the money doesn't come to us directly, it goes to escrow to the developer. We do get the government fees, which is paid into the government treasury that the government uses for the normal operations of government, whatnot. The new one we want to put on the market is specifically aimed at the infrastructural development of the country. This is a challenge, and especially now in a climate change era where we have, rains that are out of season, we have stronger hurricanes and storms. There's a lot of wear and tear on the infrastructure of the country, the bridges, the roads. The schools need upgrading to move into more smart schools with the technological changes that are taking place. The housing, we have a chronic demand for housing in the country, and we need to invest into that. So we need an option where monies can go directly into the social development, although roads are also economic development because it provides the infrastructure for economic activity to take place. But we want to be able to meet it. So each option actually satisfies a different need in our national development process.
Right, that's very clear. Now, if any of our listeners have listened to you, Honourable Minister, they've thought, right, I mean, I really can be part of this, be part of the broader project, and if they want to find out more about your Citizenship by Investment program, where do they start? How do they begin?
Well, I think the first immediate thing to do is to go online, to bring up cipstlucia.com and to see what the program is about. But it's also quite useful to go to one of the service providers that are out there, immigration services and other persons who promote residency and citizenship services to talk about Saint Lucia, to get more information. And once you have established that connection with that service, of course, they will help you to submit your documentation. We are now actually reviewing all the requirements for submission to make it more efficient and more effective for us to be able to say to any applicant, we are streamlining it. There's less paperwork needed, not less information needed, probably less paperwork needed, and to make it as quickly as possible. The one thing, though, that we do not compromise on, and we will not compromise on, is the due diligence process. It's really important for us that we accept persons we believe are worthy to be citizens of Saint Lucia. And, we will take all the criticism if there are any. We will take any, feedback that says to us, you're probably a little too deliberate or you probably take a little too long. But for us, the due diligence process must not be compromised. We will not rush the process. We will not overlook the basic steps that are needed. We will ensure that due diligence is actually strengthened, enhanced, and is robust, but it has to be quick and efficient. And for us, that is what's the defining line. We are setting up a cutting-edge service in terms of how we receive applications, process them, and award citizenship. But we are strengthening due diligence, whilst at the same time making it more efficient and more effective.
And I think for anyone thinking of applying, I mean, that speaks to the integrity of the program and gives an applicant confidence that this, isn't like some other programs there that have been bedeviled by people trying to get money offshore inappropriately, not paying tax in their host countries and that kind of thing. And everything is done to the highest ethical standard. Dr. Hilaire, thank you very much for sharing your valuable insights on St. Lucia's economy and these investment prospects. It's been a real pleasure having you on Business Talk, and I've got to make St. Lucia the next on my holiday list to come and enjoy the jazz in particular that I believed you were at till the wee hours of this morning. You wouldn't say it chatting to you. Thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure, Michael, and you're always welcome. And to all your listeners, Saint Lucia is always welcoming to you. It is a choice destination. And when you're making your mind where to travel to, make it Saint Lucia. Where to invest, make it Saint Lucia. And where to become a citizen of, make it Saint Lucia. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Dr. Hilaire, who has been sharing a little bit more about St. Lucia's Citizenship by Investment Program. He's St. Lucia's Minister for Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information here on Business Talk.